Conor McGregor isn't just one of the major figures in combat sports, he's a walking headline machine. Known for his knockout power in the cage and a knack for chaos outside of it, Conor's story is as much about his controversies as it is about his career. Lately, there's been a surge of footage showing Conor crossing the line with fans, opponents, and just about everyone in his path. It's like he's become a magnet for chaos. At this point, it feels like he's fully embraced that reputation. Whether you're a fan or not, Conor's story is full of highs and lows, good and bad, leaving everyone to ask, is he truly the greatest of all time, or just the loudest? So, let's get right into it. The assault footage. A civil jury in Dublin found Conor McGregor, the notorious MMA fighter, guilty of assaulting a woman who goes by the name Nikita Hand. This incident took place back in December 2018 at a hotel. Conor has been ordered to provide over £200,000 in damages. The case revolved around an incident that happened at Beacon Hotel, where Hand accused Conor of her. Another man, James Lawrence, was also involved in assaulting her by engaging in non-consensual sex. Unfortunately for Conor, he was the only one found guilty of the assault. The trial kicked off on November 5th, with both men sternly denying the accusations. They maintained that their encounters were indeed consensual, but after deliberation, we've seen who the jury decided to side with. So, what really happened, and how do we know who to blame? Hand provided the details of the incident in court so everyone could share her story. On December 8, 2018, Nikita Hand said she and her colleague Danielle Keeley joined Conor and James Lawrence in a penthouse suite after wrapping up their work Christmas party. According to their testimony, that was all about heavy drinking and cocaine use, and this fun lasted till the early hours of December 9th. While in the hotel room, Conor reportedly pinned Hand down on the bed and assaulted her. She told the court she was genuinely scared for her life, thinking that she might never see her young daughter again as Conor choked her during the attack. Hand explained how she tried to escape, raising her hands and struggling against him, but the more she resisted, the more she claimed he seemed to enjoy it. She said, "The only thing I could move was my head. I bit him, but I can't remember where. He didn't like it, so he flipped me around and put his arm around my neck and choked me." Worst of all, Hand mentioned she was worried about a tampon she had been wearing that night. Dr. Daniel Kane, a gynecologist and forensic examiner specializing in sexual assault cases, testified that he had to use forceps to remove the tampon, which had been wedged inside. The paramedic who examined Hand the day after the alleged attack described her injuries as some of the worst she'd seen in years, noting the extensive bruises and abrasions covering her body. The physical injuries were undeniable, but Conor claimed he wasn't responsible. Instead, he suggested they could have been self-inflicted when she swan-dived into the hotel room's bathtub, a defense that many found hard to swallow. Aside from the physical trauma, Hand also suffered emotionally. The court heard she had been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder due to the incident. As she recounted the story during the almost 3 days of testimony, she broke down multiple times, requiring several breaks to regain her composure. Hand was also not totally safe during the ongoing trial, as her home was broken into by a group of masked men in balaclava. Her counsel, John Gordon, described the incident, which took place on June 4th during a court session with no jury present. Though there's no evidence linking the attack to Conor, the men are believed to be his supporters. According to Gordon, the intruders broke into Hand's bedroom while her baby slept in the next room. Her boyfriend bravely confronted the attackers and managed to drive them out, but was stabbed in the process. The incident forced Hand to move out of her home in the Drimnagh area for her family's safety. Gordon mentioned, "We are not laying that at the feet of the defendants or saying they have anything to do with that. We do make the claim that it was not an untargeted attack. It arose from supporters of the first-named defendant, Mr. McGregor. It is related to the claim that she had to move out of the Drimnagh area." On Friday 22nd, the jury delivered its final verdict, awarding Nikita Hand €248,603 in damages. Standing outside the courthouse, Hand expressed hope that her story would inspire other victims of assault to speak up and fight for justice. In a heartfelt statement, she said, "I hope my story is a reminder that no matter how afraid you might be, speak up, you have a voice, and keep on fighting for justice. I know this has impacted not only my life, my daughters, my family and friends tremendously. And even though the trauma remains a part of her, she still looks forward to the future with careful optimism," which she expressed, saying, "It's something that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. Now that justice has been served, I can now try and move on and look forward to the future with my family and friends and daughter." When asked if she felt vindicated by the jury's decision, her response was simple.
Do you feel vindicated now?
Yes, I do.
I do.
After having lost the civil case, Conor couldn't hide his frustration. He shook his head as the jury announced that Nikita Hand won her case and walked out of the courtroom without commenting. However, once he got to social media, Conor let loose an explosive tirade. He started by defending his friend and co-defendant, James Lawrence, who had been cleared of assault allegations as regards the case. Two men falsely accused, one vindicated, the other soon to be, he said. He congratulated James on his absolute exoneration, slamming the accusations as heinous and expressing outrage over what he called disgraceful treatment in court. Conor claimed everyone present that night knew what happened and accused the jury of ignoring testimony from witnesses who disputed Hand's account. He said, "I look forward to seeing you further vindicate yourself and lambast those responsible in court. We know what happened that night. Everyone present knows, yet it was ignored. Every single statement of persons present on the night was ignored, and they all disputed Nikita's lies." He mentioned how James believed in certain parts for strange reasons and Danielle Keeley wasn't believed. Then he went on to say that with the damages, which had an interesting choice of figures, it was clear they didn't believe Hand much either. According to him, there was no way they'd believe her. He called her claims absolute nonsense. He also added, "How these lies were accepted, I will never know. A court of feeling and opinion brainwashed into people via the mainstream media, not of fact." The former UFC champion didn't stop there. He called the trial a kangaroo court of opinions and feelings and blasted the media for what he saw as biased reporting. Declaring that the fight was far from over, Conor vowed to appeal the verdict and hinted at further legal actions. Conor did not say a word when he left the courtroom, but his body language and later comments spoke for him. After Hand had won her case against him, Conor cut a visibly emotional figure. Later, the Irish MMA star broke his silence with a statement reflecting his next move, an appeal. He said, "I will be appealing today's decision. The judge's instruction and the modest award given was for assault, not for aggravated or exemplary damages. I am disappointed that the jury did not hear all the evidence that the DPP reviewed. I am with my family now, focused on my future. Thank you to all my support worldwide." Conor was surrounded by his family throughout the court proceedings, showing a rare peak of vulnerability in the public eye. His longtime partner, Dee Devlin, left the courtroom in tears, and his mother, Margaret, stayed close by his side. Sitting between Devlin and his mother in the back row, Conor leaned on his inner circle, his parents, sister, and brother-in-law all present, to help carry the storm of the verdict. Conor might be handing over more than £200,000 in damages after losing his civil sexual assault case, but jail time isn't in the cards for the UFC star. Why? That's because this was a civil case, not a criminal one, and Ireland's Director of Public Prosecutions opted not to pursue criminal charges. Civil law in Ireland also doesn't guarantee anonymity for the parties involved, making this trial public. But let's not ignore the elephant in the room. This isn't McGregor's first brush with scandal. Inside and outside the cage, his antics have often landed him in hot water. Footage of him getting overly handsy with women has made the rounds online, including one instance where he appeared to grope a woman at a party while supposedly there with his wife. In another video, he's seen trying to grab a woman's chest. These moments, whether fueled by alcohol or not, tell us about a man who often cannot draw a line between acceptable behavior and behaving like an animal. For many, this verdict feels like a long time coming. McGregor's wild behavior is now under the spotlight in a way that even his fame and wealth can't cover up. His talent is undeniable, but the real question is, will his story be remembered for his victories in the ring, or will his controversies permanently stain his legacy? For now, Conor's focus appears to be on his family and his next legal steps, but there's no doubt that the outcome has left a dent in the fighter's personality and profession. But what personality was Conor McGregor recognized for? The personality behind Conor McGregor. For many people, Conor McGregor, born on July 14, 1988 in Dublin, Ireland, is known for wearing many hats: professional mixed martial artist, boxer, businessman, and even actor. He made history in the UFC as the first fighter to hold championship titles in 2 weight classes, featherweight and lightweight, simultaneously. Before his rise to fame, McGregor led the Cage Warriors scene, achieving the same dual-weight champion status. While still in Dublin, Conor attended Irish-language schools, starting at Scoil Mologa in Harold's Cross for primary school, and later at Colais Dehida in Tallaght for his secondary school. Around this time, his love for sports began to show, especially through his passion for football. As a kid, Conor's life was centered around sports. He played football for Lord's Celtic Football Club, and at 12 years old, he took up boxing at Crumlin Boxing Club. This time, it wasn't just about the sport. He used boxing to build confidence and stand up to bullies. In 2006, his family moved to Lucan, Dublin, where he attended Colais Quas Life and began a plumbing apprenticeship. But it turns out that life had other plans for him. During this time, time, he met Tom Egan, a future UFC fighter, and they started training in mixed martial arts together. Getting his inspiration from legends like Nassim Hamed, Muhammad Ali, and Bruce Lee, Conor started to pave his path in combat sports. At 18, on February 17, 2007, Conor stepped into the MMA world with an amateur debut against Kieran Campbell at the Irish Ring of Truth promotion in Dublin. He didn't just win, he schooled, securing a first-round TKO. That win led to the start of his professional career as he signed with the Irish Cage of Truth promotion. By 2008, he trained under John Kavanagh at Dublin's Straight Blast gym. Conor's professional MMA journey officially kicked off in 2008, where he competed in both the lightweight and featherweight divisions. By 2012, he had already made a name, claiming the Cage Warriors featherweight and lightweight championships, a sign that the much bigger things were coming. In 2013, Conor leapt into the world of UFC, and it didn't take much time for him to make his mark there. After racking up 5 consecutive wins, he went head-to-head with Chad Mended at UFC 189 for the interim featherweight championship and came out victorious. However, he owed his launch to stardom to his lightning-fast knockout of Jose Aldo at UFC 194, just 13 seconds into the fight. Always searching for new challenges, Conor moved up to welterweight for UFC 196, where he went up against Nate Diaz. Sadly, the fight didn't go his way, ending in a submission loss and marking Conor's first UFC defeat. However, Conor bounced back in November 2016 at UFC 205, defeating Eddie Alvarez to secure the UFC lightweight championship and becoming the first fighter in history to hold titles in 2 divisions simultaneously. In 2017, Conor ventured into boxing for a highly publicized bout against Floyd Mayweather Jr. Despite a solid fight, he lost via TKO in the 10th round. Returning to MMA, he faced lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov at UFC 229. Unfortunately, he also lost via submission. Conor McGregor isn't just a household name in MMA, he's the undisputed king of pay-per-view, PPV. He's headlined the 5 highest-selling UFC events, with his fight against Khabib Nurmagomedov at UFC 229 pulling in a staggering 2.4 million PPV buys, a record for MMA. His journey into boxing against Mayweather in 2017 was even more massive, racking up over 5.3 million buys across the US and the UK, making it the second highest PPV event in history. Conor's popularity and business ventures have also translated into insane earnings. In 2021, Forbes named him the world's highest-paid athlete, reporting that he earned over $180 million. And to think that wasn't even his first time on their radar. Back in 2018, he was ranked 4th with $99 million in earnings. But with fame comes controversies, and Conor had racked up his fair share. From driving offenses to accusations of assault and sexual misconduct, his behavior has often landed him in hot water, but we'll come to that in a few minutes. And as if that wasn't enough, we've discovered that Conor has also dipped his toes into the world of politics. After a tragic stabbing incident in Dublin on November 23, 2023, Conor took to social media with strong anti-immigration statements claiming that Ireland was at war. He even responded to Britain First leader Paul Golding's call for him to lead a freedom march, condemning riots, while making powerful declarations like, "This is not Ireland's future. If they do not act soon with their plan of action to ensure Ireland's safety, I will." He caused outrage when he also made controversial remarks and included a call for the perpetrator of the stabbing to be tortured and killed. By November 28th, Conor found himself under investigation for allegedly inciting hatred, a criminal probe coming from his inflammatory comments. On November 26, 2023, Conor took up Taoiseach Leo Varadkar's case, criticizing his immigration stance and accusing him of neglecting to call out Hamas when referring to an Irish child hostage released by a group. Varadkar had described her as an innocent child who was lost, a statement Conor found lacking. Fast forward to December 2023, when rumors swirled about Conor eyeing the presidency role of Ireland. His potential candidacy even got a shout-out from Elon Musk, who posted on X, "Not a bad idea." When asked why he's run for the presidency, Conor pulled no punches, claiming, among many other things, the allocation of our nation's funds has been nothing short of criminal, and without an iota of consideration for the public's thinking, our people feel ignored, unheard, until of course election time. Then the waffle begins. Unfortunately, a poll revealed that only 8% of voters would back him, while 89% said they wouldn't. Outside of politics, Conor was also a well-known businessman. His business moves were nothing short of impressive. His endorsement deals include Beats by Dre, Monster Energy, Reebok, and Bud Light, earning him $7 million in 2017. In 2018, he also struck a deal with Burger King, and right before his fight with Mayweather, Conor announced a stylish collaboration with tailoring brand David August, launching his very own August McGregor, a line of sharp suits tailored for millennials. But perhaps his most notable venture is Proper No. 12 Irish Whiskey, which he launched in September 2018. Named after his childhood neighborhood in Dublin 12, the whiskey has become a global sensation, earning Conor the right to be called a savvy entrepreneur. In 2021, Conor and his business partners made headlines when they sold their majority stake in Proper No. 12 to Proximo Spirits, which already held 49% of the brand. The deal? A jaw-dropping $600 million. However, behind the scenes, things got messy. In August 2022, Artem Lobov, a former friend and training partner, claimed he was the one who suggested shifting from vodka to whiskey. According to Lobov, he even conducted research and worked on business deals to bring the product to life. Later that year, Lobov sued Conor, seeking 5% of the massive payout from the $600 million deal. On the other hand, Conor fired back with pointed social media posts, prompting Lobov to file a second lawsuit against him, alleging defamation, harassment, and intimidation. But in January 2023, the tables turned when a judge threw out Lobov's case, ordering him to cover Conor's legal fees. But beyond the whiskey wars, Conor ventured into the hospitality game. In 2020, he bought a pub in South Dublin, giving it a fresh identity, the Black Forge Inn. Unfortunately, the pub faced its own drama in 2022 when it became the target of petrol bombs. Conor was just a magnet for chaos in most things he did. In 2021, Conor expanded his pub collection by purchasing the Marble Arch in Dublin. Interestingly, this is the same pub where he made headlines in 2019 for assaulting a man. That same year, Conor launched Forged Irish Stout on July 10th, brewed in Ireland and first served at his other pub, the Black Forge Inn. Still on the outside-the-box ventures, he ventured into Hollywood, joining Jake Gyllenhaal in the 2022 remake of the classic 1981 film Roadhouse. When it comes to family, Conor has two sisters, Erin and Aoife. He's been with his fiancée Dee Devlin since 2008, and together they have 4 children. Conor's training often took him to the Mjolnir gym in Reykjavik, where he would train alongside fellow UFC fighter Gunnar Nelson. Crazy enough, he's not one for pre-fight rituals, as he deems them a form of fear. As for his personal life, Conor is Catholic and a football enthusiast. He supports Celtic and Manchester United, but has also shown love for Paris Saint-Germain, thanks to his solid friendship with Sergio Ramos. But as we said earlier, Conor's career has always had its fair share of controversies. Beyond his well-documented legal troubles, including driving offences, assault and disorderly conduct, 2023 saw him cause commotion with divisive comments about Dublin riots and Ireland's immigration policies. Things escalated in 2024, when a civil court in Dublin found him guilty of assaulting a woman in December 2018, ordering him to pay nearly $250,000 in damages. But let's look at these controversies and how they have impacted Conor's career. McGregor's major scandals. Now, what are the many controversies Conor McGregor has managed to rope himself into over the years? First up, let's talk about his love-hate relationship with traffic laws. In November 2017, Conor received a $400 fine for speeding in Rathcoole, County Dublin. A year later, he pleaded guilty to another speeding offence in Kill, County Kildare, which cost him $1,000 and a 6-month driving ban. But that wasn't the end of his motoring mischief. Fast forward to March 2022, McGregor was arrested in Dublin, accused of 6 driving offences, including dangerous driving, driving without insurance, and failing to produce his documents. Irish police even had to seize his car. After being bailed out, Conor's case led to several things, with additional charges piling up. By September 2022, he was facing a whopping 7 charges, and his trial, which was originally set for January 2023, was delayed due to his convenient illness. The court eventually scheduled it for July 2024. But let's be honest, Conor's controversies go beyond traffic tickets, like how he's been called out for making racially insensitive comments ahead of his 2015 fight with Jose Aldo. Conor was accused of racially taunting his Brazilian opponent. Things went out of hand in 2017 when Conor crossed a line during a promotional event for his boxing match with Floyd Mayweather Jr. He told Mayweather to "dance for me, boy," and encouraged the crowd to hurl insults at Floyd's family. Mayweather later accused McGregor of disrespecting black women, referring to black people as monkeys, and insulting his then 13-year-old daughter. Conor, as we all know, tried to defend himself with a lengthy Instagram post, but the damage was done. The post read, "Floyd Mayweather, don't ever bring race into my success again. I am an Irishman. My people have been oppressed our entire existence, and still very much are. I understand the feeling of prejudice. It is a feeling that is deep in my blood. In my family's long history of warfare, there was a time where just having the name McGregor was punishable by death. Do not ever put me in a bracket like this again." Now let's break down another one of the wildest chapters in the chaotic stories of Conor McGregor. On November 10th, 2017, Conor showed up at Bellator 187 1987 in Dublin to support his teammate Charlie Ward, who knocked out John Redmond in the first round. Instead of remaining seated, Conor decided to jump into the cage, leaving out that he was not a licensed cornerman, and things went south fast. The fight wasn't officially over, but Conor was already hyped, charging at referee Mark Goddard, who was trying to assess the situation and ensure Redmond's safety. In the chaos, Conor knocked Redmond back down while trying to check on him. As if that wasn't enough, Conor climbed back onto it after leaving the cage to continue celebrating. A commissioner tried to stop him, and clearly agitated, Conor slapped the guy. The next day, Bellator's overseer, Mike Mazzulli, slammed Conor for his behavior, stating it jeopardized the health and safety of everyone involved. Redmond later claimed the fight could have gone to a second round without Conor's antics. Fast forward to April 2018, and Conor dialed up the drama in Brooklyn, New York. It all started when Khabib Nurmagomedov and his crew cornered and slapped Conor's buddy Artem Lobov in a hotel. That didn't sit well with Conor, who decided to respond with chaos. On April 5th, Conor and about 20 others stormed the Barclays Center during UFC 223 Media Day. Khabib and several fighters were on a bus leaving the venue, and Conor wasn't having it. He ran up, grabbed a metal dolly, and hurled it at the bus window, shattering it. Fighters Michael Chiesa and Ray Borg were injured from the flying glass, and both were pulled from their fights. Dana White called the incident the most disgusting thing in UFC history, adding that Conor texted him afterwards saying, "This had to be done." Conor fled the scene, but later turned himself into the NYPD, facing charges of assault and criminal mischief. He eventually pleaded no contest to disorderly conduct, got 5 days of community service, and had to attend anger management classes. But it didn't end there. Michael Chiesa later sued McGregor, claiming he suffered pain, loss of enjoyment of life, and other damages from the attack. Another scandal happened at UFC 229 in October 2018, when Khabib Nurmagomedov jumped out of the cage to confront Conor's teammate Dylan Dennis. The issue arose when Conor swung at Khabib's cousin Abubakar, triggering a scuffle involving both fighters' camps. The aftermath brought fines, suspensions, and withheld payouts, with Khabib issuing a public apology. In 2019, he also faced allegations of sexual assault resulting from the incident in a Dublin hotel. After criminal charges were dropped, a civil case brought by Nikita Hand alleged Conor had raped her in December 2018. In November 2024, a Dublin court ruled in Hand's favor, ordering Conor to pay €250,000 in damages. McGregor plans to appeal, while Hand, on the other hand, despite facing threats and violence during the trial, has been widely praised for her courage. Conor McGregor's 2019 was packed with legal trouble. Another incident happened in March when he was arrested outside Miami Beach's Fontainebleau Hotel for an altercation caught on camera. McGregor lunged at a fan who was trying to take a photo, smashed the fan's cell phone, and stomped on it. The incident earned him charges of strong-armed robbery and criminal mischief. He was released on a $5,000 bond, but the drama escalated when the fan filed a civil lawsuit days later. By April, the lawsuit was dropped, and in May, the criminal charges were dismissed following an apparent out-of-court settlement. Then came the infamous pub incident in Dublin. In August, TMZ Sports leaked footage from April showing Conor punching an older man at the Marble Arch pub after the man repeatedly declined a shot of McGregor's whiskey. Irish authorities started an investigation, leading to Conor being charged with assault. His rap sheet revealed 18 prior convictions, mostly for driving offences, but as we all know, it wasn't his first brush with assault. In November, McGregor pleaded guilty and was fined €1,000. Conor McGregor found himself in another legal trouble in September 2020, this time on the French island of Corsica. He was arrested on suspicion of attempted sexual assault and indecent exposure after an alleged incident at a bar. Conor spent 2 days in custody, being questioned by police before being released without charges. 8 months later, French authorities closed the case, citing a lack of evidence. A year later, in October 2021, Conor allegedly assaulted Italian musician and TV presenter Francesco Facchinetti at a nightclub in Rome. According to witnesses, Conor broke Facchinetti's nose during the unprovoked attack. Facchinetti eventually pressed charges a few days after the incident. In January 2023, Conor faced another accusation of assaulting a 42-year-old woman who was aboard his yacht during a birthday celebration in Ibiza the previous July. The woman claimed that Conor berated and physically assaulted her, forcing her to leap from the yacht to escape. During the process, she reportedly broke her arm. Initially, she did not want to file a statement with Spanish authorities, but later she reported the incident to Irish police, who passed the information to their Spanish counterparts. The woman also filed a civil suit against Conor, but in late February 2023, the lawsuit was suddenly dropped without any explanation. The crazy part of her story was the fact that after she came forward, her car was set on fire outside her home, and a brick was reportedly thrown through her window a month later. Conor's antics, however, continued into the summer. During Game 4 of the 2023 NBA Finals in Miami, McGregor participated in a promotional skit skit with the Miami Heat mascot, Bernie, portrayed by dancer Chris Brown. As crazy as it may sound, Conor reportedly threw 2 punches, with the second blow injuring Brown, who required a hospital visit. The crowd wasn't amused, and Conor was met with boos. Days later, he brushed off the incident, claiming it was all part of the act and that there were no hard feelings. However, just a day after the mascot incident, Miami police received a report claiming Conor had sexually assaulted a woman in a restroom at the arena after the game. Conor's camp quickly denied the accusation, calling it baseless. By October, the case was also dropped without explanations. In the end, Conor McGregor's story is shaping into a complex combination of astonishing athletic accomplishments and a series of high-profile controversies. Whether he's remembered as a combat sports legend or a magnet for trouble depends on which side of his story you hear first. It's up to the world to decide how to judge the man behind the gloves. Enjoyed the video? Crave more excitement? Stay tuned by clicking on any of the cards on your screen right now for more thrilling content. See you next time.